Hi, my name is Aney, and I am the owner of Sitting Pretty Pet Spa and Boutique located on Lakeshore Drive, which is 1891 Lakeshore Drive, right in beautiful Lakeside District. And we're really happy to be here. We opened almost a year ago now. It's myself as a groomer, and then I also have 3 other girls also as groomers with me, and we all range in experience from 11 years grooming to 4 or 5 years grooming, I think is the least. So we've only been here a year, but we've been grooming for many, many years. Have seen lots of different things with pets and with dogs, cats, and even rabbits, and I think we had a ferret in the other day, you know. So we really have a lot of experience with pets and their various issues through the seasons. When a dog comes into our shop for grooming, especially if it's the first time, but not always only the first time, we check them over every groom to make sure that they haven't developed any new reactions to either their environment or to their last groom. That's always possible. Too. Owners are always surprised to hear that dogs can develop allergies, can develop different health conditions and problems, even from 6 weeks ago. And so the first thing that we always check is just temperament. We come around the counter and we just say hi to the dog and see how he's doing. A lot of times you can tell, especially a dog that we've been seeing for years, you can tell how they're feeling that day. And if they're out of the ordinary, all of a sudden they're snippy, something weird when we pet them, they don't seem quite themselves. That's always a key indicator that there, is something that we need to watch for during the groom. The next thing we check is for their coat. You have some of your smaller dogs with the long hair, the Shih Tzus and the Malteses and the Yorkies, and the first thing we're going to check is to see how the coat's doing. Some coats hold up really well, especially during the winter. They do just fine. Other ones get matted, which are little knots in the hair. And so we're going to check for that because that's going to be an indicator of what we're able to do as far as the groom. Underneath those, either the mats or even just healthy normal hair, we're going to check the skin, make sure that there's no new redness, no new places where they've been itching. On your white dogs, you can tell a lot of times whether or not they've been itching or scratching because they will leave brown stains on the tops of the feet. They'll leave it on their bellies, on their sides. And so those are the main things that we look for right off the bat, just to see exactly what we're going to do as far as that goes during the groom. During this time, we also check the toenails. We trim toenails with every groom though, so long toenails aren't a huge deal. It's not an indicator of neglect necessarily. It's just the fact that some dogs' nails grow long, other dogs don't. So we're going to check those, make sure whether or not we want to do a nice nail trim or if we want to file them with our grinder. So those are the main things. We're going to check the ears at the same time. And then you learn a lot just from talking to the owner though, what the owner's seen since they've been home, since their last groom. And so, if they say, oh, well, in the past week, the dog's been itching a lot and we didn't necessarily see anything wrong with the skin, that's something that then we have to sort of think about what could possibly be wrong. We're going to check for fleas. We're going to check for the skin problems. We're going to check for even just something maybe poking them. There may just be dirt and different thorns or different things that they've picked up out in the woods. I ask a lot of times, do you guys live in the woods? Because that makes a big difference as to whether or not they're going to pick up bugs for one, fleas and ticks, but also whether they're going to pick up pine needles and sap and that kind of stuff, which can irritate the skin as well. The other things that we look for are environment changes, as far as if we find a dog that comes in, let's say you have a lab come in who has been healthy every time you've seen him, or even if it's your first time seeing him, and all of a sudden his owner says that he has a hot spot on his back end. And a hot spot is where a dog, something has irritated them, and then they continue to lick or bite or scratch at this one spot, and so it's going to become really raw. It'd be the same if you just sat there for hours and just itched at your own skin. You're eventually going to have a raw spot, and then once that starts, they're not going to stop itching at it. So it's sort of this vicious cycle. So they come in and they say, you know, Buddy's been really itching at this spot. You see that it's a hot spot. Well, there's something caused that. It's not just all of a sudden, you know, he just decided that he wants to tear his back end up, you know. So the main thing that we look for, first of all, is we ask about environment changes and life changes. If this is a new occurrence, hotspots can be a result of anxiety. And that's something that as a groomer we can't totally solve, but we can help give some suggestions as to how to help solve that. I know I personally have experience with that. My standard poodle will chew off areas of his body occasionally, and you know, just right down to the skin. And it's just, those are days where maybe for the past week we haven't been home as much, maybe all of a sudden we were babysitting another dog, and so something has irritated him mentally, and so he just starts licking, and then once he starts, he can't stop. What we can solve here, though, at the grooming salon is if it was an environment change where maybe they've been to a new home that has different carpet, different lawn treatment. That's something that a lot of people don't think about. They put fertilizer on their lawn, and then all of a sudden Buddy starts itching. Well, he may be having a reaction to that fertilizer. And so that's something where we can help get those chemicals off the body, especially carpets, carpet cleaners, different powders that you spread on your carpet, things like that, where then the dog's laying in that area can really irritate the skin. And so even just by getting those chemicals off the body, sometimes that helps in itself. Then we also have different variations of medicated shampoos that we would put on that area to really help relieve the itching. It'd be the same as you get a chemical on you, or something has irritated your skin. You're going to wash it off first, but then you're going to put something on it, a Gold Bond powder, something, a cortisone cream, where then it's going to help relieve the itching so that you're able to keep your hands off of those areas. Well, that's the same with the dogs. You want something that's going to help relieve their itching a little bit. If it's a body-wide type irritation, that may be a seasonal allergy, and by seasonal, we tend to see it year-round, so it's sort of strange to call it seasonal, but dogs do get allergies. They get allergies a lot, and our shampoos can help. What we always tell our owners, though, is that you're relieving the symptom. You're not solving the problem, and that's the same with you know, lawn treatments, new carpets. Maybe there's something in your house that's irritating them, or their food is irritating them. That's also a very huge thing that we talk to owners about is, you know, all of a sudden your dog may develop an allergy to corn, which is a #1 ingredient in most foods. And when we give them their bath with our skin remedy or our medicated shampoo, you're relieving the symptom, you're not solving the problem. And so we try to help educate everybody on how to solve the problem, so that then when the dog comes back, then they don't have that same problem going on. That's always our goal. So, but that doesn't mean we don't, you know, see it happen all the time, especially, you know, I can say seasonal, but we see it spring, we see it winter. Every season has its own issues related to it. And that's why proper grooming and on a good basis, so that you're not waiting too long to come in, is always really important. Generally, it depends though. Every pet's a little bit different. Some pets go great getting baths twice a year, and then in between, the owners just keep their eye open. They keep them out of you know, and out of different irritants. Some dogs do great that way. Other dogs need more of a monthly basis. We see some labs come in every single month, and they get their bath, they get their toenails trimmed, ears cleaned, and then we brush them and blow dry them. And not only do those owners see that their skin has improved, but also their shedding has greatly diminished. And so a lot of times if we have owners that are asking us about shaving dogs that generally aren't shaved, your labs, your goldens, huskies, that kind of thing, we usually try to steer them clear of that and instead try to encourage them to go to monthly baths, where then we're going to be getting a lot of that hair out with the brushing and the blow drying. And so that's good for your dogs that don't necessarily need a haircut. Now your dogs that do need haircuts, on them once a month is phenomenal as well. I would say at the most, we find that the best luck we have is every 6 to 8 weeks. That'd be the most amount of time you'd want to go in between groomings. You really tend to eliminate any tangles. Those are the times when if you're coming in every 6 to 8 weeks, we don't need to shave them right down to nothing.